Hey everyone, it's Anna Runyon from Classy Career Girl, and I am so excited to introduce you to a guest today. We just decided to go live last minute, so here we go. I am so excited to introduce you to my guest. Our guest today helps burnt out women in the tech industry find their ideal careers, secure pay raises, and my favorite, live luxuriously. Katie Barber is an incredible career coach. You may have heard her on my podcast about a year ago. I had her on when she graduated from our career coach certification program. And I wanted to have her back on now that we are 1 year later so that she can give you an update because she has had some major wins lately. She is also in the recruiting field. So I really wanted her input on the current state of job searching in the tech field and really how to stand out from the competition. So you guys are in for a treat. Welcome, Katie, to the Classy Career Girl podcast.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here, and I can't believe it's been a year, like already. It's
I
insane.
know, I know. You worked so hard, and then now you just
Yeah.
get to go out and serve people and help people. So I want to start
Yeah.
out by asking you, give us a summary of the past year since you graduated. I know you have been so busy. I follow you on Instagram. I see your reels and your posts. So give us an update.
Yeah. So the past year's been crazy. I really took a minute once I graduated and wanted a big like refresh. I wanted to kind of like start from scratch to get like, organic growth and everything like that. And so I've just been like posting, trying to really like help as many people as I can. And like I really took to heart when you said to all of us too, like just help one person a day. Like if you can do that, like everything will come together. And it couldn't have been more true. Like even if, I can just comment like on one of like if someone leaves a comment on one of my posts and then I can like help them that way. And then like it kind of like goes into the DMs and then goes into, coaching and sales calls and things like that. Like it's really come together and I'm super, super happy. And, just really kind of figuring out who my own coaching identity was too, at the same time, like, and being more comfortable and confident with, my style of coaching. So, it's been a really, I would say like transformative year for me,
Mm,
ever since.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's been fun.
Because you
It's
kind
been
of
fun.
had to start over in a little bit. I know we were just talking about this before we hit record, because you had a big win on Instagram with one of your reels lately. So tell us about that. And then
Yeah.
tell us about, yeah, this kind of the process of kind of, it's okay to kind of rebrand, restart when you're ready.
Yeah, totally. So I had the pleasure of going viral and was like, you know,
Yay.
I thought it was only like I was gonna be cool with like, 5,000 views because I've been posting every single day on Reels, like, and they say Reels is the way to like grow your Instagram. Like they weren't lying, but you have to be consistent and like it took a lot of like research to like find the trending sounds, see what other people are posting, what topics are hot, like compared to others, and kind of like testing it out too. Like people want to hear all about remote. So like anything talking about like remote job boards, remote jobs, remote, like literally anything. Like people want to hear about it. So yeah, so I ended up getting, let's see, I think it was like 1.8 million views and I turned
So
off the comments.
amazing. I
Yeah,
know I messaged you. I was like, why are I'm like, did you know your
no,
comments are
I literally I had to turn them off because it was just like getting so insane with like also that's the part about social media that people don't talk about as much is like the trolls. And I was just like, this is how can anyone troll on this video? It's
Yeah.
literally helping, like just telling you about what other job boards to use. And people, I was getting like some crazy DMs. So I was just like, okay, enough. Like I've had the comments on, and it kept going. And I was like, it's still going without all of that. So yeah, so okay, so it ended up at I'm looking at the oh shoot. It ended up with like 1.8 million views,
Wow.
39,000 shares,
Wow.
and which is insane to me, and 61,000 saves. Like,
Whoa.
yeah, I was like,
Amazing.
whoa. So from there, I literally went from 200 followers to 22,000 followers in a week. Like I was like, whoa, so it was definitely crazy. And then like being able to kind of like take advantage of like that's when I was like, okay, like I really need to like put my free community together. So like I'm finishing that up so then I can just like funnel them into that. But yeah, talk about like a whirlwind, like
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. So
And I had to give
yeah.
you, I wanted to give you a shout out publicly too, because people
No,
think that
thank
just
you.
happens
Yeah.
automatically, but you have been working so hard consistently on
Yeah.
social media every single day.
Yeah.
And you've had posts that get no views too, right? Like
Nothing.
we've had it
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
down, and you just have to test and post, and you don't know what's going to work until it does
Yeah.
work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about the topic of that viral because that's a hot topic. So let's talk.
Yeah.
That was
Totally.
about remote work, right? So with the remote work, the ongoing impact of technology on the job market, what advice do you have for job seekers looking to leverage those trends to their advantage in their job search?
Yeah. So and it was so like, and it started with that, with the hook was like, this is controversial, but, and like people always,
Yeah.
and so basically I was just saying, like, in this job market, you got to think outside of the box. And that is something that is so hard for people to do. And all I was saying was like, instead of using LinkedIn and Indeed, here are three remote job boards, right? Like just fully remote job boards. Like that's all I was saying. But the people, like, they were going in the comments, like arguing about, like, well, I like Indeed or I like, and I'm like, okay, I'm not saying not to use that. Like, fine, use it. I wouldn't be like my preference, because there's so many other like job boards. And like I tell my clients is too, for example, if I have someone that's in, UX design, right? Like, or graphic design, there's a whole, I found like over 20 job boards just for design, you know what I mean? That are specific for design jobs, design careers, like, and it's things like that to where you have to really get creative. And I think that also like translates into this type of a market. Like you can't just apply and like you're gonna hear back, you know what I mean? Like in 2024 you can't. So that's been really like, it's been fun too for me to try to work with my clients and just kind of like expand their minds on like, you don't have to do things just one way. Like there's so many different ways to brand yourself, to apply to jobs, to network. Like I just had a master class on networking, and um some of the people were like, wow, I didn't even think about that. And I'm like, you're not supposed to, you know what I mean? Like like that's why I'm doing this, is it's like I'm sharing the information. But you just have to really be creative in this market for sure. So
Yeah. So what were those three job boards in your in your
oh yeah,
Instagram
it
post?
was it was let's work remotely, remotive, and then I think it was remote.io. But I have like a list of like all these remote job boards. There's some really, really good ones too. But those were, I think, the three that I was talking about. And then someone copied, like, I found two other people that copied the exact script that I made. The exact script. And I was like, and then they went viral. And I was like, this is a scam. I feel like this should be like intellectual property. But it happened. I mean, at least I knew it was good. So, there's that
Definitely.
side of it too that people don't talk about, where it's like people just like, I know I'm an authority, in my coaching and my career, and like I know that I have the knowledge, but there is just so many people on the internet that
Yeah.
have zero. And that's what's good about, the certification too, is like, no, there's an actual system. Like
Yeah.
it really, like, it helped so much with like, again, and I still go back and I like look at the trainings and I'll review and I'll be like, okay, like, okay, this is a good refresher on like, again, like before my networking, like I looked in and I was like, okay, like, what are some good points? Let me just get a refresher. Like it's so good for the long term, but it really does like help your business, like straight up. So yeah.
Yeah, you stand out. You stand out from the rest. I think you can even tell from your content, as well. Like every single post, you're different. You know what I mean? Like you know
Yeah,
your
thank
stuff
you.
and you have the background of the recruiting too. So and you're working with clients too. Like firsthand, you have clients, you know the recruiting field. So
Yeah.
what are you seeing as far as like 2024 emerging trends or strategies? Are you recommending different things to your clients because of the competitive market right now? What are you seeing?
Yeah. So again, like being creative, like you can still, I would say, I'm kind of guiding my clients to look in different industries than they would think, right? Like
Mm,
obviously tech is like don't want to be in that industry right now. Like there's layoffs left and right. Like there's still layoffs happening. So I'm telling people like you can do your job. Why don't you look in healthcare? That's never going away. That's never going to be in a recession. Like people always need it. One of my clients, is in like moved into insurance, right? And like still like in recruiting, but moved into insurance, got a job like 2 weeks. Like, so
nice.
I think it's just like looking at different industries, but also another big thing is try to like networking is going to be super, super important. Like, I think is really going to be, and not just, you know, connecting and be like, oh, well, you refer me, but like offering something, else for them and kind of like actually building a relationship is going to be big. And then networking like ahead of time, like always being prepared. I think if you're looking or not, like that's when I tell people, like, it's you always just want to like keep your ear to the ground. Like I can tell the market's picking up a little bit. Like I'm starting to get reached out to again for like recruiting, and like recruiting industry's been horrible. So and I never say no to a call. Like, and I tell my clients the same thing. Like even if you're not interested, like never say no, always have a conversation, always apply to a job, even if you don't think that you're qualified. Like 2024 is the year of like, I really think putting yourself first, like working on your branding, like that makes you stand out in your industry, like in your type of role, like no matter what type of job, making sure that everything is good with your LinkedIn, with your resume, like and starting to kind of be proactive, I would say is super important. So
Definitely.
yeah.
I wrote down a lot of things that you said. Like networking before, yeah, ahead of time, preparing
Yeah,
ahead of time, networking, never say no to a call. And then I love 2024 is the year of you and branding yourself. I
it's
love that.
true. Yeah, it's like putting yourself forward, and people don't think of them like branding themselves like, oh, I'm just this, like I don't need, like, like I'm like, no, you when you're interviewing, it, why are they gonna hire you compared to all these other applicants? Like what are your unique selling points? Like no one, I like to tell my clients too, it's like no one can have your career journey but you. Like there's not a carbon copy. Like everyone's is so unique that like tell your background, your story, your experience, and you're not going to go wrong. So,
Yeah. I always say, like, you're the CEO of your own career. Like, even if you're an employee, you're in charge. You can create your own
yeah,
resume. You can add stuff to that resume. You don't have to wait for your boss or anyone to give you opportunities or add those things. You can do it yourself. And
yeah,
so that's branding. That's your brand is your LinkedIn profile, your resume. A lot of people think they don't have a brand, but you have to work on your personal brand, especially this year,
totally. Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
sure.
for sure. Yeah.
So how are
So,
people standing out? Because I know on LinkedIn now you can see how many other people are applying to jobs, and I know that's intimidating. So
yeah,
how are your clients standing out?
yeah, and I've actually learned a couple of things too. So when it shows, especially in recruiting, like some of my, friends and colleagues are like, "Oh my God, like 3,000 applications
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. Like how am I going to do that?" So I also learned that that is just like how many clicks. Like that doesn't mean that they actually applied to that. It's just like
Mm.
they clicked on the application button. Yeah, so it's like, okay, well, first of all, that's a little misleading and
Yeah,
intimidating.
LinkedIn.
But yeah, like okay. But also I think that this is the year, like I said, you can't just apply. I think and this works every time. I got my client a job in a week, like a literal week in this market because she reached out to the hiring manager directly, got her interview scheduled in 30 minutes, her first
Nice.
interview in 30 minutes. Like you need to be reaching out to the decision makers and saying like why you're passionate about the job. And people are always asking me like, do I need LinkedIn Premium? Like, no, like all you need to do is connect with a message. You get 300 characters to shine and to tailor it for what you want to be, whether that's asking for a referral, networking, saying, if you're talking to the hiring manager, like, hey, I'm really interested in this job. Like, I've applied, like, I'd love to connect. Like, it's something so simple, but people just have to take it to the next level for this year because the market's so competitive. So
Yes.
that's what I'm telling people to do is take it to the next level and find, if you can't find the hiring manager, find the recruiter. And I know people go back and forth like, oh, recruiters don't respond, but like, make it as easy as possible on us also, like when you're sending me a message, like you could just say like, oh, I'd like this job at this company. Like, can you send me the link? Like, do you have the
Yeah.
link for, and I'll find the right person, like point of contact for you. You know what I mean? Like little things like that to make it as straightforward, like to where there's no way that they can't help you. That's like how clear your message
Yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's so important too, because it's so important to know what career you want first in this market too. Because in order to have that amazing email and get that hired in a week, you have to be confident in your ideal career fit as well too. And I know that we
Yeah.
we work with our clients on that first, so that's important. Um, and that, I think people just think they have to follow the rules and apply. So I love that you're saying we don't have to follow the rules these days.
Throw them
Let's just
out. Yeah.
go contact the recruiter or the hiring manager.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly. And like, I would just it's just about being creative and really thinking outside of the box for sure. So, yeah.
Definitely. So
Yeah.
tell me about a memorable client this year. Like tell me about, an experience you had coaching someone that I mean, we coach to make an impact and to help obviously we help someone every day. That's our goal. But has there been like a one that stands out to you that you've been able to help this year?
Yeah, I would say my most recent one, where I got her. Okay, so I'll set the scene. Um,
Okay.
she is a graphic designer and she had applied for this company over a year ago. And when I tell you creative, she made like a PR box for herself because she's a graphic designer, super good in branding, like did all of my branding. She's amazing. And she sent a PR box like with her resume, like all of this. It didn't get delivered or whatever. Like there was a whole, but this was over a year ago. So like, fast forward a year, she's like, oh my God, the job's open again. And I was like, well, like, let's do it, And so, she's like, well, what should I do? So I was like, okay, you're going to apply. And then we found, excuse me, we found the hiring manager and I was like, send her a message, like, let's put something together. She sends her a message, gets the interview 30 minutes later. She was like, and because her LinkedIn was up to date, her website, again, she was doing like a lot of freelance and stuff at the time. So her website's amazing. And the hiring manager looked, interview 30 minutes, does the interview like the next day. And then the final interview was, I think it was like an interview on Monday or Tuesday, and then the final interview Friday with the VP, um, and then she did like the project like in between, like because it's graphic design,
Wow.
and then she got the job offer on Friday. Like
Wow.
it was such a whirlwind, and we had like increased her salary by 35K. She has crazy benefits. Like it's obviously her dream company with like what they do. And, she obviously tried to get in a year ago. And it just shows too, like a couple of things like always be persistent. Like just because you applied like 6 months ago and there's like another role, like apply, but be smart about like reaching out, right? And like trying to find that hiring manager to connect with and like putting yourself in the driver's seat. Like I'm not gonna I'm gonna do everything that I can to get my foot in the door. And now she's there. She just texted me. I think on Friday, and she was like, I just had my 2 week check-in with my boss. Like she absolutely loves the work that I'm doing. I'm super happy. Like I can't thank you
Yay.
enough. This is the first time I feel fulfilled in a job. And it all like came together. So
Love
it just
it.
shows too, like, you know, when companies want to hire, they'll hire you and they'll hire fast. So there's also like some narratives about how the market is, but it's really just about like putting yourself in the driver's seat for sure. So
I love
that
it.
was
And
fun.
I love that you're like you partner up with her and like it's almost like your job in a way that you're going for too when you're a career coach. You just like that's
Oh
how
my
we
God.
are. We're like, how can we make it happen? And
The
that's the job.
interview
That's
prep
a
that
good
was like,
coach. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The interview prep that we did, we were like, okay, let's get everything together. Like, and we were very detailed about like how to frame her story and all of that. So like, yeah, it's fun. It was fun. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
so
So
fun.
yeah,
Huge win. I love that.
thank
So,
you.
where can people find out about you? Of course, where can we find your viral Instagram reels?
Yes, well, it's pinned to my page. It's at career.ignite.byc. And then, yeah, you can find me. You can email me at Katie at careerignitebykatie.com. My website is a little under construction, but it's still there. Careerignitebykatie.com. Everything Career Ignite by Katie. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we will have a blog post going out with all the links as well too, so you can always check the show notes on Classy Career Girl blog. And then we'll, of course, be sharing this around on our Classy Career Girl page on Instagram too. So go follow Katie on Instagram. You're on TikTok as well, aren't you?
Yes, I am just starting the TikTok.
All
Yeah,
right.
we're doing some TikTok too. I gotta pull up the name of that TikTok. Hold on. It is career underscore Barbie. So
Oh
if you
yeah.
wanna follow a little career Barbie,
Yep, yep,
over
gotta
there on
follow.
TikTok.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any last words of wisdom for, others who are going through a big career transition right now?
I would just say just go for it, right? And like it's scary to be like making a change. It's scary to be putting yourself out there on social media. That took me a long time to like, ooh, it's scary. But it's scary is good. And that means that you're growing. And again, just go for it in 2024 and like put yourself first. So
That's
yeah.
the vibe. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep, for
Thank
sure.
you so much, Katie, for joining us on the podcast today. And I'm excited to maybe we'll check in a year from now again and see how many more clients
Yeah,
and you can
yeah.
give us
Thank
the
you for having
update
me.
on the
Yeah,
trends of the
exactly.
year
I love it. Yeah, exactly.
and the motto.
Thank
You give
you.
us the motto for the year. Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
good to see you. Thank
You
you.
too. Bye.